I don't know about you, but it's been a long time coming. I have been waiting for this to happen since 2019, just when Flex came out with their new polisher. Guys, the new Rupes HLR15 cordless is here. So if you're on the fence about getting one, or you're wondering if you should get the kit and the non-kit version, you've come to the right place. Okay, so in this video, I'll tell you everything, every detail about the new cordless HLR15 by Rupes. I'll give you my thoughts and my recommendation on the kit. By the way, there's one thing I didn't like in the kit, more on that later. And I'll also give you a comparison with the Rupes Mark III corded as well. All right, so let's get into it. Okay guys, so the HLR15 cordless was announced last fall by Rupes at SEMA show, obviously. This one was produced in January, but they only came out a couple of weeks ago in some areas, maybe a month ago. I got mine 2 weeks ago, so I had some time to play with it. In Canadian dollar, hold tight, this kit was $1,006 to be exact. Okay guys, so right off the bat, look at the design, look at the style. This polisher looks really pretty. I really like the grip, the rubberized handle and the head as well. The battery, will have to get used to it, so more on that later, but it's a very different polisher from the old one. As far as my first impression, you'll get a new backing plate. This one is really thin, and you still have that shroud over here. On my Mark III, I cut the shroud, so it gets more like a free spinning polisher, but you can also remove the backing plate and remove the shroud at the same time. On this one, I did not play too much with the backing plate. I just want to try it as it is, all right? So the battery is 1 pound and 7 ounce, which is, I guess it's fairly light for today's batteries, but still you're gonna have that weight at the bottom. When you're gonna polish a vertical panel, I will most likely put my hand under just so it doesn't fatigue your arm and your shoulder at the same time. And on the horizontal panel, I played quite a bit with this. I really like to hold it by the handle itself. The way they position the battery, it's not in your way too much, but be careful as you pull back or as you get into a panel to not hit a panel or hit the car with the battery. But Rupes thought about it, so they have placed some rubber at the bottom of the battery. Nonetheless, something to get used to. I'm sure it's not gonna be for everyone. We're gonna hear about people staying with the corded version, but for many people, and I'll give you my own reason to go with the cordless, this is gonna be a game changer. Right off the bat, I can tell you this polisher is great. Okay, so more about the weight, the whole polisher, so I'll have some B-roll for you. The corded is about 3 to 4 ounces lighter than the previous version, and its balance is quite a bit different. So on the old version, you had most of the weight from the middle to the head, so it was fairly easy to keep your pad flat the way it was balanced. So on the new one, it's gonna be different, so you'll have to try it out for yourself, but nothing we cannot get used to, but it's very different from the old one. Some people will want to hold it from the battery or from the handle, but the ergonomics and the design are really top-notch. Rupes really did their homework, they thought about everything. Next up, really quick, if you're not aware, the HLR15 is for the 5-inch backing plate, so the 5-inch pad, and the 21 is 21 milliliter throw with a 6-inch backing plate. You're gonna have a bigger and larger pad, but for today's car, the way the cars are built, you've got all those hard body lines, and for me, it's a no-brainer. You gotta go with the 5-inch. The days that the panel were really flat are gone unless you're working on a pickup truck or something like that. So if you're not sure, I would recommend you go with the 15. Next up, I wanna go back again, talking about the rubberized portion. This whole polisher has so much rubber, so this is really comfortable in your hand, and it's safer if you happen to bump into a mirror, into a door handle, which is usually what happens, and you're gonna still have some rubberized point in the back so you can put it on its back flat. Next up, I want to talk about the trigger really quick. I know if you've watched other videos about the new cordless machine, you might already know what it is, but you'll have to press the trigger lock first, and then you engage with the trigger itself. It's something to get used to, but I really like the way they change the trigger. So let me give you a sound comparison for the two polishers. That's speed 1, 2, 3. That's speed 6. And I'll give you speed 1 to 6 on the corded. So it's a way different sound. After giving it some work time, I much prefer the cordless or the battery sound. It's much more pleasing and it's not as annoying and aggressive. So obviously they tried to make it just as good or better than the old version, and you can see it's little smaller. So if you go handle to handle, it's a smaller polisher, but when you add a battery at the bottom, it's pretty much the same length on your ears. Okay, so Rupes brought another feature on the new polisher, on the new cordless polisher, the LED light. So a blue light will indicate that the machine is working fine, and you could get a red light to indicate that something is wrong with the polisher or you're applying too much pressure. But for myself, I have not seen a red light as of yet, and I don't expect to get any as well. But isn't it really cool to have a LED light on the side? It's something really innovative by Rupes, so a thumbs up for that. Okay, so as you can see, the polisher is well balanced, so I'm holding it by 2 fingers. If you were used to hold it by the handle at the back, you might hold it by the battery. And obviously we have to put some time behind the machine to figure out how we like to use it, right? But let me give you some context about the polisher that I had before. So my first polisher, it was a Griot's G6, I believe, back in the day. And it felt like a jackhammer, right? You can polish half a car and your whole hands and your arms were tingling. It was really, really that bad. So I sold that polisher and I moved up right away with the Rupes Mark II polisher and really loved it. But still, we had some vibration even with Rupes pad, because Rupes is balancing their machine with their own pads. So if you move to a pad that has a different weight than their own pads, you might experience some wobble, maybe more vibration. When they released the Mark III, I gave it some time and I finally sold my Mark II on the used market and bought the Mark III. So I've mainly used this for the last few years. I have a 3-inch Flex PX80 as well. So the Mark III or the Mark II, we know they're pretty much the same regardless. This polisher would give you some vibration, especially with a microfiber pad. At speed 4, this polisher with a Rupes pad was pretty much seamless. This vibration would come at speed 5 or at speed 6, but for me, I was mainly using the Rupes corded at speed 5 most of the time. So with a Lake Country pad, that's the pad that I like. You'll get some vibration, but nothing crazy, nothing that'll make your hand tingling or you'll feel some nerve damage in the long run. So I stuck with this polisher. I just cut the shroud and I loved it still to this day. So back to the cordless machine, this one feels way smoother than the old one. I can't explain it. So I tried it with the Rupes pads, the new one that came in the kit, so more on that later. So overall, the Rupes cordless is super smooth, even with Lake Country pads. I feel this is that much more smooth. I used mainly the speed 5 and 6 on this machine. So let's get into the power side of things. I've heard Serrano's Mobile, our friend Serrano's Mobile talked about it, and I think he's right. The speed 5 and 6 are not the same that the speed 5 and 6 on the corded version. I don't know if it's a placebo effect. After using it a couple times, you can see that the speed 5 and speed 6, the pad, the backing plate is not rotating as fast. So I have no problem with cutting and finishing with the machine. The machine worked great, but it feels like the speed 5 and 6 is not the same as the speed 5 and 6 on the corded version. Is it a lack of power? Is it something with the batteries? I'm not so sure. What I've heard about the batteries from Rupes, we've been told that the battery will give you the same power from beginning to end of its charge. So you won't get a sudden loss of power because the battery is getting too low on its charge. The way the microchip and all the engineering have been done on this polisher, you should get the same power, the same speed from beginning to end. When the battery cannot give you the same power, it'll be empty and ready to get recharged again. So when I'll have more time behind the machine, I'll be able to tell you more information about the power and the speed. Like I said, I had no problem cutting a defect with it. It just feels like the speed 5 and 6. The machine is not spinning, and it's not spinning as fast as the corded version. Maybe Rupes will tell us eventually why we are noticing this difference between the two. Now I want to talk about the kit, guys. I want to give you my recommendation if it's worth it. But first, let me give you a couple reasons why I switched to the cordless version. For me, there was no doubt that I was looking for a cordless polisher. I did not want to get a Milwaukee one. It's too much vibration. Maybe I'm a CC. I'm sensitive to vibration, maybe. I really gave all the time needed for Rupes to come out with their own version. I did not want to invest in another brand of polisher, but a couple of reasons why I was eager to get one. When you're sitting on a creeper, the cord will always get stuck under the wheels of your creeper. I was always fighting it going around a car. After that, when you go around a car, the cord will get stuck again around the tires, so you would lose time, you would fight your way working with the cord. So another annoying fact with the cord, it's when it's on your shoulder, it would always fall off your shoulder, obviously, depending on what kind of clothing you have on yourself. So some material will just make the cord fall all the time, which was getting annoying. So I did not want to have the cord rubbing against the paint, obviously. This goes against what we do in detailing. Okay, two more reasons to get a cordless polisher. So with the cord, when you stepping on a platform or on a step to, let's say for example, you're polishing the roof, you could end up injuring yourself. You could trip on your cord somehow if you're not paying attention. If you're really tired, it could happen. So having no cord is a big plus. It's one thing less to think about. So the last reason to go with the cordless that I came up with is when you're going away. So if you're going to a friend, you're going on the field, having no cord is a big plus. You never know if you're gonna have enough plug, if the plug is close enough to the car you're polishing. So some people only have 15 amp plugs. So when you use a compressor and a polisher at the same time, you could end up tripping your breaker. So that's another good reason to go with the battery polisher. Okay, so if you like this video so far, please click on the like button for me, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments if you're a Rupes guy, you're a ShineMate polisher guy, maybe a Flex, a Max Shine. Tell me what kind of polisher that you like in the comments. So what comes in the kit, you'll get the two small size polishes. So that's the DA Fine and the DA Coarse. You'll get their new version pad that is only available in the kit for the moment, but eventually you will be able to buy this pad. This is their new pad, medium pad. So it should be more cut than the yellow foam, but still finished great. So I'm guessing they came out with this for the one-step polishes. So yeah, I would pair the medium pad with the yellow most of the time. You could step up to the blue one for a harder paint system. Obviously, that's where they mixed the yellow and the blue. It came out like a teal color. So I did not try this pad yet. So you'll get two pads for each color. The next one obviously is the yellow pad that everyone knows already. So this is a finishing to medium pad depending on the paint system you'll be working with. But most of the time this pad will finish great with a medium polish like this, or something like Perfect Finish for finishing, or any finishing polish for that matter. Next up, they have released a new version of the yellow wool. So let me show you the old wool style. So the old wool had a tapered edge, and this one has a straight edge. And apparently they improved the wool material, and the wool itself has shorter fibers. And the fourth pad that you'll get is the DA coarse wool again. This one, I think it's unchanged. Don't quote me on that. So I told you there was one thing I didn't like in this whole kit, and it's actually the pad shape that they have. So you've got some kind of beveled edge on their pads. And let me show you a Lake Country HDO just for comparison. So those pads are both 5-inch and they are centered. You can see that the Rupes protrude much more on the sides. So you'll end up having a larger pad with the Rupes one. They're really comfy on their machine. But what happens as you polish and you get into the panel curves and the grooves, since this pad is wider, it takes more room into a panel, into a curve. You'll end up with more pad stalling. I personally ended up with more pad stalling using this shape of pad compared to the HDO, which I'm really much used to. But the HDO had their own problem. During COVID, they changed the backing here, and we had problem with the delamination. As you can see, this one has some heavy use behind this pad, but the glue on the backing was not high quality, and you were getting some delamination, so you had to throw your pads away. But I digress here. So I have nothing to say against the foam itself. It's a great foam. It cleans fine. The polishing is great on it. I just don't like the shape. I would much prefer a shorter pad. It's just a protection if you're bumping as you polish, if you're bumping against a door handle or a mirror or anything else. You'll have some leeway, some protection. So Rupes did that shape of pad to protect you from damaging the paint. But when you have some time behind the machine, I don't think that you need that. For me, it's working more against me than it's working for me. So like I said, I much prefer a rounder shape or a straight shape pad for that matter. So on the polishes, I did not use yet the coarse, but what I can tell, it has an excellent cut, but you have to do short cycle, maybe 30 seconds. But on the DA Fine, never tried it before, so it was my first couple use. Really like the polish. It did a fantastic job. The wipe off is just like many other medium compound. Like in my previous video, by the way, I'll leave the link for my one-step compound video. I compared Koshemi F6 against 3D1, but the cut was great. By the way, I used the yellow pad with this, and it left some haze on Audi black paint. Quick side note on the charger itself, it's really well built. You cannot charge both battery at the same time, so you can put both on it, but the charger will charge the battery that has the most life already. And like I said, it's working properly. I like the design. I like the way it's made. If I can give you a hint about it, compared to Flex would usually have some holes so you can hang your charger on the wall and then saving some space on your counter. Just like I did here, I have my Flex hanging on the wall, so it's not laying around on my countertop, which is a big plus, but Rupes did not have that on their own charger. So again, for the kit, you'll get 8 pads, the 2 polishes, 2 batteries, the charger and the polisher. And you'll get also a microfiber, but I did not even open it. I don't think no one cares about Rupes microfibers. Okay, so as far as the kit is concerned, if you can wait a couple more months, you already have some pads and polish, you already have a system in place for your polishing. I would avoid getting the kit. I would save that money and use it for something else. I will just go with the polisher itself, the charger and 2 batteries. That would be enough. I'm not a big fan. I've never been a super big fan of Rupes pads. But to tell you the truth, I've been a Lake Country pads guy for a long time. But nonetheless, those are great pads. They work well, and they seem to last quite a long time. Another side note, Rupes is moving to a paper packaging compared to the more plasticky one. So they're trying to be eco-friendly. So if that's something important for you, I felt like I needed to mention it. Okay, to finish it off, I'm not so sure yet if I'm gonna keep my corded version, But the two main reasons to go with the cordless is obviously having no cord behind. That gets annoying all the time, especially for me. And the second reason is most likely the sound of the machine. So you get a much more pleasant sound with this one. In any case, I really love the new machine. If you're on the fence about getting it, I recommend that you get it. It's a lovely machine, but like I mentioned, if you want to wait for the non-kit version, I would recommend that. And guys, please subscribe to the channel. Like you see here, I have the DIY product. I had Ivan LaCroix on the channel with his wife Sylvie, so I'll have 2 videos with them coming soon. So please subscribe to the channel, and with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.